Test. What's up, guys? It's Francis again. So tonight I'd like to give you guys a bit of my own interpretation and analysis about the genesis of power, including but are not including but are not quite limited to political power. But for tonight's episode, I'd like to emphasize more, a bit more on the genesis of my own interpretation of the genesis of political power of pretty much all kinds. So I suppose during our everyday life we all engage in outsourcing of power from other sources like electricity, for instance. You are watching my YouTube videos probably using your mobile phone or your laptop or your desktop or any other electronic devices, and those devices, they consume electrical power. So you pretty much outsource power from other entities or sources pretty much on a daily basis. Whenever and wherever you reside in, you pretty much have to outsource some power from external sources like the sun, the planet Earth, and probably from other people as well, because we as human beings, we exist as relatively separate entities from the ultimate power source, God. And what I always like to I always like to know the genesis, the underlying mechanism of pretty much everything and everyone, because the way I perceive, so long as you have a firm grasp of the knowledge, the underlying knowledge and experiences, the underlying knowledge and mechanisms behind the scene, you will have the power. You will, it will enable you. Such knowledge will enable you to assume control of what happens, what will happen next. And, so that you can bear more feeling, more sense of security as a result, inevitably. So let's consider how, not just how, but why God has power over us, because we live on a planet which he created. So we are living in a space of multiple or a multitude mechanisms of confines that restrict or preclude us from doing just anything we want. So there are certain things that we can't do, like not yet, not at the moment, such as colonizing other planets. God sets such barrier. He predetermined such barrier, such or in case you may prefer to call it a sort of a mechanism of failsafe. So so he put all those restrictions around us most primarily to keep us safe, to keep us isolated from the dangers, from the hazards, and risks as much as possible. Though tragic events do happen due to carelessness, due to ignorance and neglect of certain lessons that the people came before us managed to generate due to their own carelessness. So whenever and once we witness the catastrophic outcome, we will can we then begin to get to know about the repercussions, the consequences of a certain action or a behavior, to which they can lead. So yeah, so that's let's say that's probably that falls in the categories of the categories that maintain that sort of power. So yes, fear, probably yes, fear. So those in power, they will use fear to put you inside the space of a multitude of confined mechanisms, so that you won't be doing whatever things you are not supposed to, so far as I can see. And I always wonder why such system like the present day, the system of employment, the system of education, like primary education or secondary education or higher education, including things like including systems like vocational education. So why people they just tend to to comply with pretty much everything they are told to, and why people they just do they just do whatever thing they are told to do. Well, we just have to do certain things. There's no escape from it, such as excretions, consumption of food and water and air, and some sort of some energy. We just need those to come into existence. Otherwise, we will all turn to dust. So I think there are some other types of systems that probably have vastly different underlying mechanisms to maintain its control and its power. I'd say, for instance, such as a family unit, maybe most usually the person in charge will be the husband, but sometimes you will see family units which or where wives have assumed total control of the entire family, the entire family unit's behavior, daily or monthly or fortnightly or weekly spendings, like lots of characteristics all have a common origin or sources of or a common source of genesis. So you see, pretty much nothing can escape causality. Whatever happened for a reason. Though you may not always get to know the reason, you may not always be able to pursue what exactly's been causing something to happen or someone to take certain actions. in response to another action or to another person's action whatsoever. And so I think, I suppose, in order to become immune to temptations, to trials, to some other unnecessary unnecessary negativities, like unrighteous anger, where you don't have to get so angry about someone or something, but and yet you just almost lost your mind and did something crazy, like hitting that person, for whatever good he or she did to you, and you just lost grip, almost lost mind and touch. So on the other hand, I think another foundation that maintains maintains power is knowledge. Yes. So I'm not sure, but if you guys have ever had some prior experiences of stuttering, getting nervous of particular instances where you have to speak to someone whom you think have earned more credit or more power over you, and therefore you kind of panicked and just tend to forget what you should say in order to gain the upper hand or the overall flow of the direction of a particular conversation. So you once you fall victim to such instance, to such categories of instances, you will begin to say pretty much yes and to everything, to everything that person says to you, and you basically kind of lost or temporarily, how should I put it? It's nothing like an instance of getting mesmerized or enthralled by that particular person, but I just don't know how to express such feeling in plain words. But you just have to try to interpret the my own interpretations and connotations here. So once you fall victim to that particular conversation or instances where while you were having a particular conversation with someone whom you think might have overpowered you, and then you just don't know what to say in response, or how to rebuke anything potentially inappropriate that particular person says to you. So I think that having reviewed and reassessed my previous experiences of stuttering, social anxieties. Had I never had such awkward instances, I'd never make this video here to reflect and interpret such bizarrely and mysteriously awkward situations there. Perhaps in the future, this video might just give you a bit of a more hope and inspiration in case you fall victim to stuttering, to social anxiety, to other sorts of shitty situations, shitty circumstances you might just encounter in the near future, or or during later times of your life. I don't know. I suppose I'm done talking for tonight. For now, but but regardless, feel free to rebuke me. Feel free to feel free to talk to me via Hangouts or WhatsApp, or or via YouTube messaging, via YouTube messages. So thanks again for watching and listening. I shall see you on the next video on YouTube. Stay tuned, stay blessed, and stay faithful. Cheers. God bless.